to do. Allow that to do. Hips, buttocks, waist. Is it that they don't do anything? Is only you should do everything? Can they not do anything? Give scope, open out the scope and field for them to do hips, buttocks, waist, perineum, sockets. They can also do. Why don't you give encouragement for them to be doing and then find out what is done? Inhale and come up. So it's an endeavor where you can do and it can do. You can do and they can do. Yoga is done by you. Yoga is done by them. Yoga is done by it. But we only assess our yoga, how much I can do. Now here you have to go for what I've been calling as PPP. PPP. Participation, partaking, parting with. The whole process should be analyzed not only in the way of doing and describing doings, which you describe harden, tighten, straighten, stretch, elongate, extend, pull, rotate, etc. That is our description of doing. But the PPP aspect, participation, partaking, and parting with. Now, if you had the vision, when the waist, hips, perineum, buttocks were doing, that was participation. Now, participation is always by way of partaking. They took something and they parted with something. They were givers, they were takers. So, to go more literate condition, the give, take, and get. What the buttocks and hips that suggested segment took, got, and gave. So this is the process to go classically in the subject of yoga. Because it's an orchestration, interaction, inter-responses, inter-participations, etc. There is always a partaking and parting with. So what should be parted with? Which should be not in place, should go away. Which should be in place, should be coming in. Every location is capable of partaking, parting with. In an asana. So take in right spirits. Anal mouth, anus, anal mouth is always there to only part with. Does it partake? Does it partake? And that's why you say it is excretory organ. In yoga, it can take, it can get, it can give, which is totally different than the body concept tells us anal mouth, anus is excretory system. In yoga, I've said many times, it's an inhalative organ. You can intake your inhalation of anal mouth in pranayama. You can intake your exhalation from anal mouth. Now, exhalation respiratory is not something to intake. That's why you call it exhalation. You don't call it inhalative exhalation. Inhalative exhalation, that is not possible. In pranayama, in yoga, in asanas, it is possible. Because they are in associated condition. And it's a different status for them. So your anal mouth or anus was not anal mouth anus in Trikonasana or Parshakonasana or Virabhadrasana or the Chandrasana. It contributes, it participates, it partakes, it parts with. It is capable of giving, taking, getting. We don't give what it should be getting in our turmoil of our life. We only want to do something in the morning, excrete something, and then for whole day you won't bother about your anal mouth. Is that right? Because we do not know what else it can do. In associated conditions, it can do so many things. So in asanas, we have associated conditions. So it is not just an anal mouth excretory organ. It's not just the anus, which we don't attend to at all. Throughout the day, only when we have a toilet call, we will attend to it. And what is it? It should part with. So it is important to study the anatomy, physiology in asanas. Description that medical science gives is not complete. Anyway, that's about bilateral doing. I said, do the back doing, do the waist doing, or hips and buttocks, do and doing, they doing. That's bilateral activity. Okay? So try to work out on other locations such as feet and legs, the back, chest, abdomen, other parts. You do them, figure out and give scope for them to do. Yoga will not happen by you doing better and better and better and better and better, and they doing worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worst. They should also do. So here comes the scope for them to do, not just you to do. So understand this foundational thing and then proceed. Okay, both sides finished? The other side. Now listen, I will say, know the back, know the back, know the spine, sense the back, sense the spine. Knowing, is there something for you to know the back? Is there any sensitive activity, perceptive activity, cognitive activity with regards to back? You can know, you can sense, you can feel. There can be cognitive act as well. Along with the cognitive act, there is a cognitive act. The back does, you do for back, you know the back. Back can know something. What is it that the back knows? What is it that the back can sense? What is it that the back can feel? So when you feel the back, what is the consequence? Result. When the back is feeling, what does it feel? What is the consequence? When you cognize the back, what is the end result? What is the consequence? When the back knows, spine starts knowing, spine knows, what does it know? What is the consequence? So learn these basics of dynamics of asanas. So also you can know the hips and waist and buttocks. Apart from doing it, you can also know it. Are you not knowing it? Are you just doing it and not knowing it? Is it possible to do without knowing it? Is it possible to do without sensing it? is it possible to do without feeling it, without cognition of it? So there is a cognitive act, sensitive act, perceptive act. Now allow it to do, allow it to sense, allow it to observe, allow it to feel, allow it to cognize. It is possible that it can know. If it knows, what is the consequence? What is the end result of it? So doing, knowing, sensing, observing, see that every act comes in to the extent possible in a given time. Inhale and come up. Turn the foot in and feet together. So understand the theory of yoga. It is important what you know about yoga. In theory, it is important to gauge, assess how much you know about yoga. In practicality of it, it is not only you know, yours knows. Yours also knows. It's not only what you know, but yours knows. Yours body system, anatomical system, skeletal system, physical system, physiological system, corporeal system, cellular system, they can also know. So in the practicality of yoga, it is also important to understand that it knows and not only you know. So the scope should be given to enhance or give scope for it to really know better and better qualitatively. This happens in practical of yoga. In theory of yoga, it is important how much you know, what you know, how well you know. But in practicality of it knows. They know. Now that is good for your self-assessment. If you are assessee, I am your assessor, I will only try to quantify how much you know yoga. I will not be able to assess how much it in you knows yoga, how much your spine knows, how much your back knows, how much your skeletal system knows, physical system knows, anatomical system knows. I won't assess. I can't assess. I am not the assessor, but you can be assessor. Time to time assess how much it knows. Yes, I know, but how much it knows. Let me provide scope for it to know. That's one of the preparatory aspects of asanas is needed activity, which comes in the first kriya of Ashtadasha Mahakriyas. If you do, they can do. If you know, they can observe. If you sense, they can sense. If you have memory, they can have memory. If you are conative, they can be conative. If you are cognitive, they can be cognitive. If you are perceptive, they can be perceptive. If you are sensitive, they can be sensitive. And we have to give the scope for entire community. Privileges should be given to them to evolve in yoga. You just can't evolve. As a matter of fact, if yoga evolves, it doesn't evolve in you metaphysically. It evolves in yours. Your mind, psychic consciousness can evolve in yoga. Yourself doesn't evolve because it needs no evolvement. It doesn't have to evolve because it doesn't devolve also. It is immutable principle. So yours should know yoga better than, because you can't know metaphysically. I do not know yoga. My mind, psyche, consciousness, intelligence knows whatever you say. I know that yoga, that much yoga. It is not I know. It is my intelligence knows, my mind knows, my psyche consciousness knows. It is not me, it is mine. The knowledge is theirs. Theirs. Knowledge is not mine. Knowledge is of the mind. M-I-N-E. It is not knowledge of mind knowledge. That is me. It's an inflection of the word me. Noun me. Me, inflection is mine. The mind knows yoga, not the me. The mind evolves the yoga and not me, metaphysically. So it is wrong on my part to claim I know yoga this much. Proper will be to say that my consciousness, my psyche, my intelligence, my mind stuff knows yoga. It is for it. So let me keep your brain spinning a little more. The yoga that you are learning, it is not for you, actually. Otherwise, we have this idea, concept, yoga for one and all. Our time, yoga is for one and all. But that entity in you, which is the subjective entity, it is immutable. Say, for instance, this is inert. Can I teach yoga to it? I cannot teach yoga to it because it is inert. So I will not open an institute. Yoga for brick, yoga for a blanket, yoga for chairs, yoga for mats. That much it is not for you, not because you are inert, you are immutable. Any amount of teaching you is not going to work. It is like pouring water on a vessel which is kept upside down. I pour 1,000 liters of water on a vessel kept upside down. Where will it go? Metaphysical you in you doesn't have to learn yoga. It is your mind, psyche, consciousness, various sheaths in you. They have to learn, they learn yoga. It is meant for them. So yours is learning here. I'm teaching your intelligence. I'm teaching your mind, psyche, consciousness. I'm not teaching you, which is a metaphysical entity. I can't teach. It doesn't need teaching. It cannot be taught, doesn't need to be taught. It doesn't evolve and devolve. Anyway, slowly you'll have to become familiar with the nuances of language also here. For convenience's sake, we use a language which is actually invalid. Therefore, in spiritual path, they say the best knowledge, the best language is the language of silence. That will best articulate the reality and not this rubber mouth of mine, blabbering and blabbering and blabbering, day in and day out, day after day, week after week, year after year. It is the silence which teaches. It will teach properly. But for that to happen, there has to be, this is a preliminary stage, this is a run-up to yoga. We can't say that I will not have run-up and straight away land into yoga. There has to be run-up. So these are all run-up aspects. Okay. All of you go to Shirshasana. Optionally, alternately, you can go to Supta Palangushtasana if that is not your option. Shirshasana. Or Supta Palangushtasana. Although you are all formally in the class, go up, go up. Although you are formally in the class, I suggest try to be informal. Try to be informal. And informally, try to understand, objectively try to understand what is the idea, concept, notion of posture. What is the idea, concept, notion of posture? What are the nuances, implications of posture? What are the considerations of posture? And don't be formally doing it. Informally try to do it. Try to read it. Try to understand it. What is meant by posture? What are the implications of posture? What are the nuances of posture? What is the purpose of posture? What is the process of posture? And how it is orchestrated by the body, mind, breath, speech, systems, various systems. How is the orchestration for posture to be aimed at? What is the purpose of it? What is the process of it? What is the consequence of it? Do very informally. Very informally. Posture. Alternately, you will also go for breathesture. So understand what is the process, purpose, consequence. If the position is a breathesture, and then if the position is a mindesture, so posture, breathesture, mindesture, try to figure out the process, purpose, consequence. Now, this cannot be taught by a teacher, a mortal teacher outside you, instructional teacher outside you. This is for you to really learn on your own. So what are the implications, nuances, process, purpose, and consequence? So one is that PPP aspect, because it's a community activity and therefore participations are solicited. You have to solicit participations because it is not execution. It is a community activity. So the participation should be there. The participation is of the nature of parting with, to find out how the various systems part with. That's the PPP aspect. So crystallize this aspect, save it in your intellectual cortex, PPP. So also, what is the purpose, process, and consequence? PPC, purpose, process, consequence. Now you will alternate between the position being a posture, the position being breathesture, the position being mindesture. Yoga is a heuristic subject. It is taught by a teacher who is outside you, but teacher inside you, an inherent teacher within you. That teacher is your teacher. I am only trying to give a hotline between you and your teacher inside you. So, purpose, process, consequence, PPC, PPP, PPC. So I'm giving certain formulae for you to really go about in your process of yoga here, asanas here. So where it is, you can alternate between that being position being posture, highlighted condition of being posture, highlighted condition of that being breathesture, highlighted condition of that being mindesture. So how do the systems conglomerate? How do they come in an assembly for posture, breathesture, mindesture? Constituents are same, but the constitution is different. So this skill has to be learned. It is an education about it, and the skill has to be developed as to how do they come together cohesively. So basically understand what you do is not a solo performance. In language of music, it's not a solo performance. It is orchestration. And therefore, Guruji would often say it's a symphony. It's a symphony. Now, with regards to the formulae which I've given you, PPP and PPC, how do you go about? There is act of doing. There is act of sensing. There is act of feeling. There is act of observing. There is act of understanding, comprehending. So therefore, it is prismatic verb and not just doing and doing and doing. For you, usually which we give instructions to you. So you are doing, you are sensing, you are feeling, you are observing, you are experimenting, you are trying, you are understanding, you are comprehending, and the same with respect to them. They are also going through that. So become familiar with this. Otherwise, it will be little complicated and confounding until you are not familiar with it. So when it is a postural channel, there is one consequence. Then you say, you go for a photogenic pose, fit to be photographed, and perhaps going on your DP. But when it is breathesture, find out consequentially, what is the consequence of it? If the position becomes primarily a breathesture and primarily a mindesture, I am giving you gaps in my utterance and oration because I want you to have facility to observe, to experiment, to try, and not be merely in doing. So you can rotate between the position being posture for a while, then breathesture for a while, and then mindesture for a while. In case if your time is up, you can go for the optional position which I have suggested. So are you figuring it out? That you are not in just doing endeavor. Are you not learning? Is there nothing to learn? Is there nothing to study? Is there nothing to observe? Is there nothing to experiment? Is there no scope for being creative? When they all come together, creativity is churned out. Usually we say somebody is a creative person, somebody is not a creative person. It is disintegrated condition why somebody is not creative. Certain things have to be integrated. They have to come together. Then creativity is a result, consequence. That is why I have been saying, do not just be in doatory. Doing, done, doing, done. And that's called doatory in my language. I call it doatory. Why have I used that suffix of tory? Because we have that in language, English language. You have lavatories, you have observatories. So tories are laboratories. Why don't you question the linguist person? Why do you say lab and laboratory? Why do you say observe and observatory? Why do you say lavatory? So it's not just doatory. It's not just doing business, which we have wrongly construed. Am I doing? Am I doing? What should I be doing? How should I be doing? I should be told to do. I should be taught to do. I should learn to do. So it's not just doatory. It's also learnatory. So become familiar with these certain ideas and concepts which will come in my teachings. And now slowly go for closure. So did you testify? Asana is a posture plus gesture plus breathesture. Posture plus breathesture plus gesture. Did you testify? Did you verify? Did you come across it? Or is it still an idea foreign to you? Is it an idea which is not integral to your process? So I don't want to say that you to say that this is Prashantology. I want you to understand this is Yogalogy. So did you identify there is a prominence, priority for posture, breathesture, mindesture for it to become Yogasana? So that's the equation I've given. Come down, all of you. Posture plus breathesture plus mindesture is a equation which will be suitable for you to go about in your endeavor, in your endeavors of yoga. For which you need literacy about body system, breath system, mind system, sense system, memory system, intellectual system, emotional system. Now, did you identify you are not merely intellectual, you also gave scope for emotionality to play its role. So find out between posture, breathesture, mindesture, how the emotionality comes in different proportions. Somewhere it is insignificant. Somewhere it is very significant. There are certain subjects in academics where you develop your intelligence. But in yoga, you will identify that you can improve your emotional system, mental system, intellectual system, I-ness system, psyche system, all the various systems of which human consciousness is made up of. Where did you identify the emotionality and emotional sense playing an important role? Did you identify between posture, breathesture, mindesture, between PPP and PPC? So I'm trying to formalize the approach for you to develop proper concepts, ideas to really go about. Otherwise, all your yoga is only good for prime age. Later part of the life, just weep about it, cry about it, have despair about it, have sadness about it. Because in that yoga, it becomes physical culture. Now, in which stage of life you are motivated for physical culture? In which condition of your life you give priority to physical culture? Even on day-to-day basis, your life in what the 24 hours life, 24 hours life of a day, you don't every time give prominence to physical culture, physical culture, physical culture, physical culture. So therefore, I say in asanas, try to figure out physical culture, mindo culture, breatho culture. They all have the cultures. So postural means physical culture, breathstural means breatho culture major, and mindestural means uh, the gestural mindestural means mindo culture major. Now the mind itself is multifaceted. If you are intelligent, it is because of the mind. Okay. If you are intelligent, it is because of the mind. If you are irrational, it is because of the mind. If you are very, very rational, it is because of the mind. If you are emotional, it is because of the mind. If you are sentimental, it is because of the mind. If you are egoist, it is because of the mind. That's the mind matter. So the mind is multifaceted, and the same mind sometimes becomes intellectual mind, and the same mind sometimes becomes emotional mind. Suppose we are solving mathematical problem here, your intellectual mind will be on surface. After a while, I give a turn around. I put your child or grandchild, baby on your laps. Will you be intellectual? Will you handle your baby, which might be your child or grandchild? Will you handle the baby intellectually? So from intellectual endeavor to emotional endeavor, it's a big turnaround by being in the Academy of Mathematics on one hand, on the other hand, Academy of Parenting as a father or mother, your baby child or your baby grandchild. Is that not mind? Is it only mathematics that your mind is working? The mind is multifaceted. And that's why at some stage you'll dig out the mindestural aspects. In what proportion analytical mind, synthetic mind, logical mind, illogical mind, rational mind, irrational mind, intelligent mind, stupid mind, mental mind. Now, this is a conundrum for you. If I say mental mind, intellectual mind, no problem. Mental mind is a problem. Dichotomy. So at some stage, you will open out the concept of mindesture. If you are in physical culture, understand how rough and tough you will be, how much dogmatic you will be, how much physiocrat you will be. You will be physiocratic. That's why it is called physical culture. But the same Shirshasana can be done in Bredo culture. Understand what is the scope, what is the spectrum to really traverse in the Bredo culture of it, and what is the spectrum to traverse in the Mindo culture of it. So by the yogic process, you will develop all those faculties sufficiently, substantially, whether intellectual or mental or emotional or sentimental. Other we have these classifications. Somebody is very rational, somebody is sentimental, somebody is intellectual, somebody is sentimental. We need every facet of it for our conduct of life. In life situation, we require everything. You can't be very only analytical, logical, analytical, logical, analytical, logical. So in different states of mind, you require all those to be handy. Wherever you should be sentimental, you should be sentimental. Wherever you should be emotional, you should be emotional. Where you should be rational, you should be rational. Intellectual, you should be intellectual. We have to see that everything comes handy for conduct of life. And see how yoga will work in every aspect there for you to have holistic development, WHOLE, whole. Holistic development that we need in human manifestation, human form of life. Anyway, the PPP, understand the implications, nuances, the depth of concept, extent of concept, depth of concept. The PPP, which I spoke about, the PPC, which I spoke about. What is the extent and what is the depth of it? So slowly, when you embark upon that, you will slowly get your discoverations. And you will evolve your process. So it doesn't matter whether you are growing old year by year by year, that really doesn't matter. Prime age of human being, in terms of capacity, ability, is highest in prime age. It's highest in prime age. But for wisdom quotient, you have to have number of years behind you. Number of years behind you, the more you grow older, there is scope to become wiser and wiser. So we must give encouragement to that as well. Otherwise, by aging, you will only give room for senile changes. You will only give room for senile changes. So someone like Guruji, we have witnessed that there were no senile changes in him, although he was aging. As a matter of fact, he was going wiser, wiser and wiser and wiser as the years passed. The more number of years were behind him, more wiser he became. Now that's how the life has to be managed. Otherwise, we are in duetary, and as we start aging, melancholy. We have to become wise with the very process. So don't just get to duetary. And that's why I have devised these concepts and ideas for students to really go about. Duetary, learnatory, studiatory. We have libraries, but actually we have to make them readatories. Librarian doesn't read even 0.00001% of the book stacked up. Librarian doesn't read each book. But if you go to the library, you should be going there to read it. So we have to go visit library to be as a readatory and read in the library and become more read in library. The librarian doesn't become read. He is not well-read person. He is only a librarian. But you go into library, you must become well-read person. So there is readatory in your asanas. There is something to read about posture, brothership, mindership. There is something to read about the PPP. There is something to read about PPC. Are you reading? Are you reading? Are you reading? And therefore, yoga is a knowledge process, not activity process. Yoga is activity process. But classical yoga is a knowledge process. Therefore, Guruji has his statement, no knowledge, no yoga. KNOW. And no knowledge, no yoga. KNOW, no knowledge, no yoga. No yoga, no knowledge, KNOW. That is what we should go for. Not NO knowledge, NO yoga, NO yoga, NO knowledge. So it is a knowledge pursuit. Knowledge about what? Embodiment. What is your incarnation? You are incarnation of what? That's the embodimentology and yogalogy. Yoga is learned within you, not by a master outside you. There is something you can learn from a master outside you, but actual yoga can be learned only within. That's why it is heuristic process, where you are learner and you are taught. You are teacher, something in you is learning. Anyway, PPP, PPC, inscribe. And see that this formula haunts you the moment you got to get onto the mat. Posture, breathesture, mindesture. So I give certain ideas for you to really crystallize. Don't just go for posture. It implies posture, breathesture, mindesture. PPP, PPC. And now I won't burden much today. Okay, all of you go for Brick Setuban Sarvangasana, so that I will conclude on dot. Brick Setuban Sarvangasana. So these are all interrelated. By doing, you get knowledge. By they doing, you get knowledge. By it doing, you get knowledge. By you observing, you get knowledge. By it observing, you get knowledge. By they observing, you get knowledge. See, you are the beneficiary with respect to knowledge in each case. So understand what is the duetary of brick Setuban, which any teacher here will tell you, articulate. Doing brick Setuban. That is duetary. Now, in little fast forward motion, we will go and find out how it is the duetary. You are in duetary, they are in duetary. You are doing, body system is doing, breath system is doing, mind system is doing, senses system is doing, they are doing, it is doing, you are doing. That's a duetary. Then find out. Let's have a little turn around there. Learnatory. What is meant by learnatory? The same position becomes a learnatory for you to learn, for it to learn, for them to learn, for your systems to learn. You learn them, they learn what? You learn them, what is the consequence? They learn what? What is the consequence? Studiatory. Do identify anything for you to really study? You always study of which you have learned something. Not learned any damn thing, you can't study. So learned matter is taken on the anvil to study. Having learned, you can go for study. Studiatory. So find out what is this idea that you are in studiatory. It is in studiatory. That is body, mind, breath, speech system in studiatory. They are in studiatory. So duatory, learnatory, studiatory, observatory. The position is an observatory. So you observe. What is the process, purpose, consequence? They observe. What is the process, purpose, process, consequence? So observatory. What knowledge comes by being an observatory? So one kind of knowledge comes in duatory. Another kind of knowledge comes in learnatory. Another kind of knowledge comes by study in studiatory. Another kind of knowledge comes in observatory. Another kind of knowledge will come in laboratory. You are experimenting formally. They are experimenting formally. Something is experimented formally by you and by them. So laboratory, another dimension of knowledge will be crystallized. You in readatory, they in readatory. You read, it reads, they read. And some other kind of knowledge will come by being in readatory. So these are certain basic ideas: duatory, learnatory, studiatory, laboratory, observatory, readatory. So I don't want to burden you, but then later you will also, because we are all looking for, I want to get out of what I do as yoga. I want to get. Then that is getatory. You are in a getatory. You are crazy to be getting. You are looking for what can I get? What can I get? What can it get? What can they get? So that is being in a getatory. So also takeatory. I want to take. They should take. It should take. So giveatory, takeatory, getatory, noatory, knowledge. So slowly we have to see that the process is very, very, very inclusive, very, very, very comprehensive, very much depthful and extentful. Like, what is the depth of a pond and what is the depth of a deep sea? What depth do you get in a deep sea? What depth do you get in a pond? Similarly, extent. What is the extent of water in a water body, such as a tank, such as a pond, such as a lake? What is the extent of water in an ocean? Anyway, slowly go for closure. Bend your legs cautiously, carefully. Remove the brick. Ground your back with bent legs. With bent legs. Now you don't include this as a posture in your yoga, but there is asana in it. You get settled. You are going for settled condition. You are going for all those facets of yoga: tranquility, neutrality, virginity, sublimity, purity, piety, sanctity, sanity, equity, equanimity, equilibrium. So that's how it can become an asana. It is not a posture in your itinerary or your recipe. This position doesn't come as a recipe, as a posture. However, it can be an asana. Turn to sides and come up. So we sign off here. All of you, I am thankful for your patience to be putting up with all that I had to say, all that I said, all that I wanted to say. So I thank you for your tolerance, forbearance. To be with me, you require that. You don't have to like me, love me. You should be able to forbear and tolerate. Anyway, we sign off. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Nice batch.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Namaskar.
The next session is at 3:30, which means we break for lunch now. The things can be where they are. The cleaning will happen after your second session. Azumkai? The bank person for the currency exchange is sitting outside. Is someone going to go avail of that facility? You're carrying cash with you? Money exchange. Maybe? Okay, because one thing that came, okay, there is someone. Now, he will be there tomorrow also. So in case you're not carrying your cash now to get it exchanged, tomorrow after the first session also, he will be here. And some people were confused about the washroom. So the women's section is here. You have to walk through that passage. The men's section is outside. Anything else you're confused about? Huh? Yeah, the gents' washroom is outside on the left, my left. Anything else you're confused about? The help desk is there outside. So on any day, you have any concerns, any questions, you can go to the help desk, which is outside here. Now, the lift, the elevators, of course, are functional. There are 4 of them, I'm told. But the stairway is also accessible. So if you'd rather not wait for the lift to come, then the stairway on this side on my right is functional. You just go down straight all the way. Okay? Because there will be outlets for you to go elsewhere, but then you don't get out to go to your lunch. So go down straight all the way.
L103.
Okay, we'll break for lunch now. You can leave the things here. Put your props on your mat so there is no confusion. Put your props on your sticky mat. The blankets and the foams, please keep them on your sticky mat.
Morning session, afternoon session, lunch for 2 weeks, for 10 days. Nobody tells me about all these separate.
So there was some questions about you wanting to buy the shorts, the bloomers. So the lady Sindhu who sells them usually at the institute is here. She's coming on the stage. So anybody who wants to purchase your shorts can do that there. Kude? Sindhu tikade. I'm sorry, the bloomers there on that corner. In that corner. इकडे कॉपऱ्याला बघ कुठे जागा होईल कारण इकडे कार्पेट बदलणार आहेत आता तिकडे वीरेंद्र जागा दाखवते बघ Okay, too much. During your prop kit, delivery of the prop kit, there was homework given to you. You were supposed to shake your blankets with your masks on. Everybody's done that. You washed yours. That's even better. But if someone who's not done that, can you please take the blankets with you downstairs, wear a mask, and then shake them. Shake them really hard. Outside. But please do wear a mask because a lot of fibers are going to get out. This is new. It's not washed.
Blankets is already dust in that face. New blankets. Actually, I'm not ready. I need to wash. That's all.
You can, Sushmita, संध्याकाळी props इकडे ठेवणार. You can, you have to pack them up, put them in your bag and leave it here. Thank you. You don't have to carry your prop kit at the end of the day. You just pack the things in the bag and put the bag in the designated area. You don't have to walk with them every day. Yes, we're meeting tomorrow, no?